Welcome to Molly Mish. We're an American family of 5 traveling around the world since 2008. After 3.5 years exploring Europe, Morocco, and Turkey, we came to a realization that our plan to continue our way east across Russia and Mongolia needed to be postponed. As travelers familiar with constant change and the need to be flexible, we are headed back across the Atlantic. Join us as we drive out of Croatia towards Spain in search of warmer weather and eventually to Belgium for a journey homeward bound. In our last video, we talked about our plans for 2022. If you didn't watch that one yet, you might want to stop and head over there and get an update on what we're up to. Long story short, we decided to postpone our plan to push east from Europe and instead drive west and ship our van back across the Atlantic to North America. As we have been busy planning, we hadn't considered the thought that we will be leaving this village for the last time. Well, it isn't really the last time. We will most likely be back here in the next year or two, but it will be without our van. As we get the van packed and ready for our departure, all of the memories of us being in this village over the past 3+ years hit us all at once. Meeting Real the village dog for the first time, picking olives and pressing our own olive oil, seeing Mama Cat and her new babies during our lockdown last year, taking care of and sterilizing all the stray cats, and eventually adopting 2 to become newest members of our family, Toby and Twin. We went for one last walk around our corner of the village with Twin. Of course, she doesn't really know it will be her last time, but all the sentiments are now hitting us pretty hard. We have mixed feelings about our time here, though. On one hand, we loved every moment of it. On the other hand, we were here because the world made us. We will certainly be back, maybe even sooner than later. But for now, we are off. We planned to take an earlier ferry by spending the night at the ferry dock in Zadar, so we would have plenty of daylight to drive towards Split and find a spot to camp where the cats can roam. Zadar is on the far east end of HVAR Island, only a 30-minute boat ride from mainland. We started our morning with a stroll through its sleepy winter hibernation. Much of the small coastal towns of Croatia go through these boom and bust phases from summer to winter every year. Right now it might be cold and deserted, but we quite enjoy being here when it's slow.
Got as much as I could.
As much as you're legally allowed.
So I got the special donut with marmalade. And then she had, look at this fancy thing. It's just sugar bread, but she made it fancy. So I'm very excited about that.
Just looks different, tastes the same.
How dare you? And then I got a little hot dog bread for Luca. And then they only had cheese bread where they have it like the little round ones. Looks super fresh.
Okay. Homemade.
Yeah.
With our bellies full of baked goods, we boarded the ferry and set sail for mainland. Seeing Far Island pulling away from us for the last time in our van was a bittersweet moment. It took such great care of us in our time of need, and it changed the direction of our lives forever. It has only been about 3 months since we returned from our summer in the British Isles. The van is our home, and we never feel more comfortable anywhere else. Even in the village, we used the old stone house like a rec room at a campground and slept every night in the van. It's a small, warm, and cozy place, especially for these cold winter nights. We are very happy to be back in the van and back on the road. After just one night and wrapping up some last errands in Split, we're on the road headed north. Winter in Croatia has a totally different feel than what most tourists experience in the peak summer season. Since we're usually exploring somewhere far away during that time, this is what is familiar to us. Even during normal times, winters here are quiet and devoid of people, especially on the islands. Wild camping, or what we used to call in the US boondocking, is technically illegal here. But with most campgrounds closed for the season, we can get away with it this time of year. Using the Park for Night app, we found a spot by the sea just south of the town of Beograd.
Wind signals that make you move.
Yeah?
but it's kind of like binary. Think it's like that?
Like a computer signal?
Yeah.
It's similar, I guess. I don't know for sure.
There's different kinds. There's this mouth down there.
Oh
It's
no.
lace. It's dripping.
Are we leaving today?
Should put it back in the water.
Yeah.
He's peeing on me.
Are we leaving today?
Yeah, whatever, later.
So yesterday we came to this town, or this actually little spot, just south of this town called Beograd. It's right across from the island of Pashman, and if you go down this dirt road, you end up at the end of the road, right next to the water. It's really a nice spot. I can imagine it being really busy. Yesterday some locals came by for walks and stuff. Otherwise, really quiet. Nobody here at all. A little bit dirty, some trash. You can see the local teenagers probably come by here doing their business. And great place for the cats though. We let the cats out. They roamed around all day yesterday when we were here, most of the night until they got hungry. Then they came back in. And this morning we let them out again. But we're not staying another night. So this is always a tricky thing that we got to figure out what to do. Is if we stay just for like half a day somewhere at a place like this where it's nice for the cats, when we have to round them up to take off, it could be challenging. So that's what we're doing right now. We just packed up. We're gonna go. We're actually gonna go into Zadar and stay at a kind of a homestay place. There's a couple from the U.S. that we've met before in the Eastern Sierras a few years ago now. Gosh, I want to say maybe 2017. We met them in the Eastern Sierras, and they shipped their truck to Europe just about a month or so ago, a couple months ago maybe. And their intention is to travel around Europe, but so far, since we are passing through as we're leaving Croatia, we're going to stop by. They're at this kind of a nice homestay. Some guy in Zadar, pretty close to the old town, built a little paved area at the back of his house, and he hosts campers. So I think it's 100 kuna or 15 euros a night. Yeah, don't really have super solid plans. It's just see where we go from there. But for now, we got to find Toby. He's around. We got Twin, but we got to get Toby. Usually Twin's the hard one. So we can probably get Toby to come back if we try to entice him with something that he really likes to eat. You got plans for capturing him?
No, I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah.
He's not coming because if I say who's hungry, he'll come running. That means he's sitting somewhere like watching something. So once he's done and bored, or he caught whatever he's looking at, then he'll come back.
He stood on this wall for hours yesterday.
Yeah, so as long as she's the harder one to capture, as long as we have her, it's fine.
Yeah.
We're not in a hurry, so we let them go, knowing that when they come back, we'll leave.
Yeah. Back in September 2018, we had just picked up our van in Belgium from shipping across the Atlantic and began making our way east. We spent our first 3 long days driving across Western Europe and spent our first night in Croatia in the town of Zadar. We have not been back since, but it seems fitting to stop here again on our way out. We met Ben back in 2017 just outside of June Lake in the eastern Sierras. They were in their Class A motorhome touring the lower 48 while based in Seward, Alaska during the summers. Rebecca was away for work, so we didn't get to meet her back then. But this time around, they're in a new rig with bigger adventures in mind. They've been in Europe for just a few months and have come to Croatia for its slightly warmer weather and to reset their Schengen visa days. We ended up spending 3 nights with them at a homestay in Zadar. Like us, they've been very careful during these pandemic times, and we're fortunate to have gotten to know them a little bit better during this visit. It felt good to meet friends on the road once again. We're excited for Ben and Rebecca as they begin their journey around Europe. For us, it is the beginning of the end for our European journey after 3.5 of amazing and life-changing years. As we left Zadar, we set a waypoint north and began making our way out of Croatia. It will be a couple of months before we sail across the Atlantic. As the crow flies, we're still more than 6,000 miles away from California. Stick around as we document the next 4 months of our journey, homeward bound.